Hello, friend. We've been talking quite a bit about timeline, timeline jumping and the new earth leaving the false matrix. And I think it was yesterday I talked about, shifting dimensions. And it's great to talk about it and start recognizing that reality in ourselves, hopefully to make it come more alive, that we can put more of our attention on that as opposed to the old false matrix, which is what keeps pulling us out of what is actually true, the new earth, our true being. There's just something that just keeps pulling us out. And there is a place where we really need to give this new earth or this shift in dimension, we need to start feeding it our energy, because it's not going to become our true reality if we keep focusing on what's not true. We do have to engage in this process in a very active and deliberate way. It's not just that something is going to happen, and something may happen. I'm not saying it's not going to be like that. There might be an event, who knows what, but we still need to be prepared for that. We need to make ourselves available for that. We need to start getting a sense of what that is so that when it happens, if something happens, I don't know, I really don't know. But if something happens, that we recognize it for like, oh, here it is, here it is. And so just knowing it is not enough. And when you start stepping out of that third dimension of the false matrix of duality, and you start getting glimpses, experiences, activations, ignitions, whatever, ignitions, you start realizing like, oh, right. It comes from the inside as a recognition, which I often talk about. And we really need to give our attention to that, to open up, to be open and stay open to it when that shift happens, whether it's an outer event, an inner event, but there will be something happening, maybe more gradually for some, maybe like suddenly for others. It's different, right? I had a real big bang awakening back in Denmark in, I think it was 87, which was like bang, it just knocked me off my feet in a good way, at least in the beginning. But it was totally unexpected and huge. It can happen that way. It can also happen that way in a way where you go for a walk in the woods, or you wake up in the morning and suddenly you notice that things are different. You can't really pinpoint at what it is, but you know something is different, right? So it can happen in any way is basically what I'm saying. But let's start getting a little prepared for that and recognize what it is that keeps us out of the new earth, which is right here, right now, all around you, all inside you. You don't have to go anywhere to meet it, but you do have to open up to it and start. It's like dipping your toe into it, right? If you want to go in the water and get wet, you need to dip in. It's the same here. If you want to experience this dimension that we're talking about, you need to start dipping in. You need to start maybe just sitting, by the lake and just like sensing into it, knowing it's there. You do whatever you need to do to help you connect with it, open up to it, and make yourself available for it. And when you start doing that, and again, this is my own experience, then suddenly when the false matrix is suddenly not, you're not in the grip of it because you're basically out of the grip of the false matrix. And when you're out of the grip, then you experience what is actually true. And it's incredibly liberating. It's like, wow, how did I miss that? Well, we missed it because we were completely identified with the false matrix and all the contractions and pain and fears. I've done so many videos on the matrix and fear. So, and then we try and change the false matrix and better it and get not be so afraid. But here's the thing that I'm seeing is that the false matrix is fear, is contraction, is limitation, is density. That is what it is. And that is the the helm, the helmet that we are carrying, and we are completely identified with it, and we try and change it and make it better and make ourselves more abundant, whatever it is that we do in our manifestation practices, not realizing that the false matrix is not going to get expansive and generous and loving and inclusive. It's not. It's like green paint is paint. It's just like that. So, what we need to do is take off that helmet. And that is, of course, that's what we're all practicing here. And there's many ways we do it in, breath work, medicine work, therapy, coaching, um, anything, self-love. So it's all good stuff. But it's in order to get out of the false matrix. Because when you are out of it, then you experience what really is here. And then you realize, my God, I don't need to work on the false matrix. I don't need to work on making it better or whatever. I just need to not put that helmet back on. So it's two completely different things, like completely different things. One is based on duality, one is on oneness, one is on contraction, one is expansion, one is on limitation, one is abundance. They're completely opposite. So because we're so familiar with that density and contraction and fear, that it's almost foreign to imagine a world without that, right? Like, how is that even possible? Most of us have never heard of that before or known anyone or any place where that is natural. So that's why there's going to be a lot of skepticism and belief that we need to change this, we need to make it better. But just to take the helmet off, that can be the virtual reality headset too. That's another good way to look at it, that the false matrix is basically this virtual reality headset or helmet. We need to take it off. We need to get out from under it and leave it alone. Leave it alone. Don't touch it. Don't engage with it to the best of your ability. It's not so easy, especially in the beginning, because within that false matrix structure, there is also a very strong belief that we have to do something about it, right? You can't just leave it alone. You have to work on it. You have to yada, yada, yada. And that's built into it to keep us engaged in it. And the only reason I can speak like this is because I can see it when I'm out of it. I can just see it. It's like, what the F? That is ridiculous. But then, if I go a little unconscious, then here it is again. But I recognize it very fast, faster and faster, and I can choose when I can. There are still parts in me that are very identified with it, more like an energetic or physical parts. So, I need to keep staying on top of it. And I think we all need to be that, and to do that. So, what I think is important in this transition is that we know what, I mean, if you want to start living in the new earth, in a different dimension, a higher dimension, if you want to shift timelines, it's because you know that there is something better, because you're longing for it, you're wanting it. And just look at my playlist for, the longing. It's like I have so many of them, and I very much recommend you go listen to them if you haven't already, because the longing is literally the voice of God, the mouthpiece of God, which I also talked about the other day. And that is why we know there is something else available, because we long for it. Your longing is not a mistake. It's not selfish. It's not unspiritual, all that stuff. No, it's simply the divine knocking from the inside and say, I'm here. You want to come over here now? Are you done playing out in that pretty intense false matrix? Are you done yet? You can go for another round, but I'm here. Then, we feel it more and more of us are feeling it, and we just want that. So the more you know what that is, then it's like you have somewhere else to go. It's not just an ephemeral thing. It's something you can really feel. It's real, it's tangible in your beingness, in your heart. So this is where we literally have to spend a lot of time. And we need to do it consciously. We need to set time aside to inhabit the new earth. And in that, we make ourselves available for it. Now it can start filling us up from the inside out with fulfillment, with expansion, with connection, with love, with peace, with joy. It comes naturally. It's like when you go into the water, you go into this lake, you get wet. When you drink the water, if it's clean water, you quench your thirst. It's not going to happen if you stay on the side talking about it with other people and maybe reading about it, listening to podcasts or YouTube. It's not going to happen. You need, you'll be thirsty. You're thirsting for it, but you need to get your cup out and drink, or you'll feel dry. It's like you need to go into the water and soak it up. And that's what we need to do with this frequency that is here. And it is literally waiting for us, not as in waiting, but it's just there. And if you want to experience it, you need to get up and walk into it. And in this case, you need to consciously choose to feel this longing in your heart and make yourself available for it. It sounds so simple, and it is so simple. What makes it complicated is that we're still so identified with the false matrix that it's, in a way, it's easier to go there because our neural pathways, they've been firing and wiring. You know how that works, right? They fire and then eventually they wire and then they're stuck together. So that's all it knows. It's always going to choose here. But when we choose to go here in the heart, we start changing, we start disconnecting. We're not firing these together anymore. Now we're going to start firing them in a different way. So they're separating. And then we're going to find new ways of joy, of love, of peace. But if we don't do that consistently, because these two have fired and wired together for so long, it's the default. And if it does not, these neurons don't have anything else to grab onto, such as joy and love and peace, they'll go right back together. So we need to make them, as we separate them, we need to make them open up to new firing and wiring. And that's by going in here. I love that little metaphor with the neural pathways, because when I saw that many years ago, it really started making sense why it is so important to practice and why it is important to make it a real priority. I cannot make anybody do that. I can make myself do it because I want it. But it is really something each one of us has to find in our heart as a longing of like, I really want this. I really, really want this. And I really, really don't want that anymore. That's when you claim it. You have to claim it. It's powerful. Strong intention. Strong, strong intention. And we need strong intentions for this. And we need to do it over and over because the default is to not do it, right? The default is to stay in the false matrix. We need to make this our default. We need to keep our neural pathways, neurons firing together in new ways so that this literally becomes the default. And that one is like boring, so not interested. So I want to invite you to consider that seriously, not just consider it, but really take it to heart and make that choice in your life. I don't think there is any other way, my friends. If we don't do it, we will spin here and we're going to go under. We know the false matrix is crumbling. So you can either crumble with it or you can jump ship now and start coming in and start be part of this new blossoming of the new earth for all of us. All right. Please comment below, reach out if you need support in this. Please like this video, share it with others. There are many, many, many of us light workers who came here exactly for that. But we have gotten a little too lost in the old. So I'm just here to say, come on over here, guys, right in your heart. And then the more of us who do it, the easier it's going to be for all of us. Okay, I will talk to you soon. Have a beautiful day.